I can't even tell you how much I love this filter because it actually shows the woundedness, at least a portion of the woundedness that I actually feel. And when I see this filter, it helps me tell my story. I can't explain. And I think it's because I have largely felt invisible my whole life. I think it's largely because I wanted to feel invisible. I'm going to go into that today. This morning there was a comment on chapter 6 in reference to Julie, my stepmother. And I'm not offended by it. I understand the question and the point of view. But asked if I'd ever been a step parent. And the answer to that is no. Though my daughter had a few step parents and a father who would abuse her when he'd been drinking. So I did not allow anyone to interfere with the way I parented my daughter. I was open to suggestion. Jax, please, honey. But I made the final decision. And if what the other person was suggesting wasn't jiving with what I saw was good for my child or my children, I have two, I didn't do it. And I learned that by watching how my children responded to things. And I developed my own way of parenting them. I'm sure this was in large response to how I was raised. You know, I learned from that. My dad was always at work. Or right after he married my stepmother and we moved from Johnny Creek down by Green Acres, that was halfway through second grade, my dad was, he was able to teach school for a year, I believe, a school year. And then he took a year's leave of absence in order to learn how to paint houses. And at the same time, he was building us a new house up Johnny Creek, which was at least a half hour drive away from where we were living, at least. And then through the winter time, when it starts snowing, it's longer because now it's snowing. My point is that he was never home in order to police my stepmother. She was basically given free rein. So at this point that my stepmother has taken the helm, I dealt with the stranger in the park. So I've already been molested once at that point. Then we moved to a new state and my mom leaves. My mom, whom I worshipped. In a lot of ways I still do. I never stopped loving my mom. Just missed her a lot. And then Paul, attempting to save my sisters over and over and over. Because I'm the oldest, you know. And then Julie. It just didn't stop. It was just one thing after another. And I understand that in our generation, spanking was a thing. That's what they did. But, you know, there's spanking and then there's over spanking. There's punishing and there's over punishing. There's using something to teach and then there's using something to break. a spirit. And then there's reaching depths of depravity to where you're actually enjoying it. Enjoying the suffering you're inflicting. And how do I know she was enjoying it? Because I felt it. Because she mocked me. She mocked us. She mocked us. I made a list of words, phrases that how that made me feel at this point, that I had already experienced all of these things. It's really in the beginning of Julie. The memory that I shared, that was the beginning of the end. Like that was a, oh, so this is what I felt coming kind of thing, right? But it was the diapers. The first word that comes to mind is completely, well, I guess it's two words, but completely humiliated, debasing. I start to shut down, so I have to write things down. But this is what I wrote. It shattered any sense of self that I had left. Right, and I doubted my own judgment. I couldn't just say, oh, I'm not wetting the bed anymore. I don't need these diapers, and be believed and allowed an opportunity to prove myself. No, it was no, you will wear these diapers or you will be severely punished. I don't care if you're wetting the bed or not. Put your fucking diaper on or I will hurt you. So any sense of control or sense of voice that I had left was removed. It didn't matter what I said or how I felt or what I was doing or how I was improving. So at what point is that preventing anything that, oh, well, how much work would that be for her to have all those kids wetting the bed? I understand that, but I wasn't wetting the bed. It's like chaining a dog that's not going to run away. He's going to hang out anyway, or muzzling a dog that doesn't bark. What else do I have here? Doubted myself, my judgment, my thoughts, my control, my perception, my ability to do anything. And I started losing my connection to anything, to even feeling a connection. That's where I started losing that. How I felt about myself was demolished. My self-esteem was demolished. I was not heard. I was not listened to. I wasn't worth listening to. I wasn't trusted. I was humiliated. I wanted to be invisible. Maybe that's why I felt invisible, because I wanted to be. I had to cover up to feel protected. The night before I started school at Indian Hills, I was halfway through second grade. I was 7 years old, and I was terrified that the teacher was going to ask everybody who still wore diapers. That's how I was terrified to start school at a new school. I can't explain how that made me feel. And it didn't matter.